This is JoJo551 with a review of and it might not show up, the Eye-Clops Infrared Binoculars, version 2.0. Version 1.0 had two eyepieces. The left one had a screen and the right one was nothing. So your right eye saw blackness. It was probably an uncomfortable thing. In version 2.0, you can see out of both eyes. Let's just go over the basic controls. Here's your focus, being that they're binoculars. And you got two sets of infrared lights. The ones on the very sides are for low power, which allows you to see up to 25 feet. Or so I think. I lost the manual to it already. And the large ring, which you can see with the naked eye when it's on, lets you see up to 50 feet. The camera inside has a very slow shutter speed, so it's very sensitive to light. However, it can dim down. So if you're in a bright area, it can dim down to usable, although at that point it's fairly redundant. You have your on-off switch right here. And here's your control for the light. This bottom end is for the 25-foot lights. And switch this to the bright setting to set this big ring right there on so you can see to 50 feet. This switch here is nothing more than just visual preference. You can switch it to green, which makes it look like the Light Amplification Goggles. Mind you, this is not that kind of expensive technology. It's merely just infrared cameras. And color. Now some of you who might already have this are saying, that's black and white. No, it's actually color. When you're seeing things in infrared, it's all black and white. Which brings me to a surprising feature that there is a color camera in this. It's not a black and white. Like I said, there's your focus. Now the focus knob here, well, is for changing the separation of the viewfinder. If you turn it, it's real hard to do with just one hand. You can create a wider or shorter distance between the eyes. It changes the prisms inside to adjust onto the one screen that displays an image. That's right, it's truly a monocular, not binoculars. It's one camera and one LCD screen. And to prove that point, I'm going to set this down. I'm going to shine a flashlight into one eye. And you can see there's the LCD screen that displays what you're looking at. And one of the flaws of this is that the eyeball adjuster right there, you can see it rotating in the upper right, gets in the way of the image. But when you're using two eyes, it kind of cancels itself anyway. And that being said, this can get a little uncomfortable, being that you might have to cross your eyes to get an initial lock-in on the video screen. So I wouldn't recommend it for long periods. And I'll just do a quick demo of the color modes. Right here, this is the green mode. As you can see. And just to prove my point, this is green. And now I will switch this over to the white, or as I call it, color, because watch what happens. As you can see, this test pattern is showing up in full color. This is a color camera, which is, like I said, quite the surprise. So how do these do? Well, let's take this outside. It's pitch dark out, and see what it does. Okay, living in a small city, even so, a small city, it's kind of hard to find a place where I could test these reliably, but I did find one. We're here in a very old cemetery right off of Main Street in Leominster. As you can see, it's pitch dark. Can't really see much of anything. However, if we look through here, we can now see where we're going. One thing I've actually noticed is that the angle of the screen is not very good, because the optimum color is if you're looking down, and as you notice, the more we go up, it starts to go negative. And right there is a tombstone. Unfortunately, the resolution of the camera or the lens, or both, isn't really high enough to read anything off these. So right now I do have it as clear as it can get. And another thing you'll notice is the eyeball adjuster wheel in the upper right gets in the way of the picture, but when you're using both eyes, it kind of melts away. We're now using the 25-foot point, and we can see, we can see about 25 feet. That would be, oh, you can see it on camera, the two far left and right set of LEDs. They're infrared. Now let's crank it up to 50 feet. I'm going to hit the switch now. Suddenly that tombstone appears much brighter. We could definitely see about 50 feet. Again, the contrast on the screen is plaguing the overall image. The image at the top is in reverse, negative colors. As if we tip down, which there you can see the real colors. So the angle of the LCD screen is not the greatest. And we've covered the resolution isn't all that hot either. And one thing this thing claims to be is that it has a 2.0 magnification level, when in fact, when you look through one eye and you look at the same thing with the bare human eye, it's actually 1-to-1, which isn't really all that bad, because if you walk around with these, which is highly unrecommended due to the very narrow field of view, what you see is as big as it really appears without these on. Only difference is you can't see it in the dark. Not without these. This is one of those toys, yet again, as said by many who've played with these Jack Pacific tech toys. This is something even an adult would enjoy using, and I certainly agree. Right there are 4 tombstones. Those are about, I'm guessing, 40 feet. And the one way back there, right in the center, is 50 feet. Let me see if we can zoom in for you. This is very hard to get in. And this is the red ring of fire here. You can easily see it, but with the naked eye. And of course this camera can pick up a little bit of infrared, because you can't see the other two, which, let me turn that back. There's the side ones. And again, as I mentioned before, you have a choice between color, in this case black and white when you're using infrared, or if you like the looks of the green military style view, which we'll use for now. That works too, but again, you can kind of see the very poor angle of the LCD. It turns negative at the top. It is actually a solid green. So here we go again. Let's look at the same 4 tombstones, which you can't really see. There's the tree that's about 25 feet away. We're using the 25. This is very hard to get the right angle here. And now we switch to 50 feet. The 4 tombstones are really hard to see. And that one in the middle, very dark, that's 50 feet away. So this product does as it's promising. It does work very well. Unfortunately, it's a little hard to control. And so you gotta, when you get close to things, you gotta focus it in. Alright, let me set it back to 25. When you get really close, there we go. Might not be showing up clearly for you, but you can see the tree and the bark. And like I said, not exactly the easiest thing to use, not the clearest, but if you're looking for, again, I'm finagling with the controls here, pardon the jerkiness. It's not high res enough to be able to read these tombstones. You might just see a white blob there, but I could see somewhat the details. So again, we're back in the black and white mode. And we're going to use these to get out of here. I can barely see a thing. There's the stone wall. And there's the gate. With these things, it's quite easy to see. So if you lose power, for example, and you need some, and you don't have any lights, or you don't know where your flashlight is, these will definitely come in handy trying to find those. And now we're back more into city lights, so everything starts getting bright again. And we kind of lose the whole... We kind of lose that whole natural ability, and it's starting to rain, go figure. There's St. Leo's Church, and that's what it looks like to the naked eye. So, you can't see it, but that's the review of the Eye-Clops Infrared Binoculars, which is really a monocular, but it works really well. I highly recommend this. Even if you're an adult, this is a fun little toy to have. You can see everything in the dark, especially if you don't have lights or what have not, or just to look at things in the dark. I highly recommend this toy. It goes for $60 at Toys R Us at the time of this recording. And I hope you enjoyed this review. Have a good one.